Hello, dear friends. Patrick here. How you doing today? Today we're covering part 3. We're going to cover chapters from 7, 8, 9, and 10 in the book Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. And this book published, I believe, in, let me put my glasses on here, 2009, if I'm not mistaken. 2009. And I must say that the book has finally captured my full attention. Oh, I'm sorry, 2016. So 9 years old. 2016, we're 2025. 9 years ago, this was published. And the book starts off slowly, but it has drawn me in. And now I am fully committed to participating in this autobiography. Now, I don't know if J.D. Vance wrote it himself, but since he was a media relations person in the Marines, it lends more credibility that he is, in fact, the author, at least the main author of the book. And just to go from the chaos of his upbringing, it eventually resonates with all of the potential electorate, right? You've got people that have been born in families that are missing a parent, and that is so common today, and people that are part of the working class, which is so common today, which is an expanded working class now. His mom was really quite unwell. She was from the land of not quite right, as they say, and was very dependent upon his grandparents, without which he would have been lost to who knows what. And to see all the experiences that he went through, so many that are really cringeworthy and heart-wrenching. And then finally, upon finishing high school, he made the decision to join the Marines. That's mostly that we're covering in Chapter 10. And then also in Chapter 10, we're seeing his grandmother passing away, and the emotional impact that had on him. And the overall theme here is that he is, as he's growing up in his teen years, he's very mature beyond his years. Now, of course, the purpose of books that are written by aspiring politicians is to put them in a good light. Of course, we're talking about the likely future president of the United States. And it does portray him in a good light, but how can he not be portrayed in a good light considering his background? There's nobody coming out saying, "Oh, this is not true. This is where he comes from," right? He grew up in the southern United States, in the Kentucky, and went to high school, decided to join the Marines, and spent 4 years there, and taught him so many things. And I like his relating of the impact of his boot camp training, that he able to express it in a way that you don't usually hear. It's much more insightful, and it's much more, I hate to use the word tender, but it really does, because it contrasts with his life experience, his family experience, his community experience, and then, allowing that physical discipline experience to mesh with that. It's quite remarkable. I have to say that the book has really drawn me right in, whereas in the first couple of chapters I was very disinterested, bored, and rather repulsed by it, coming from a working class background myself. So sorry to drone on so much, but this is really becoming quite compelling. I'm now on chapter 11, and nothing really jumps out at you. It's very consistent, and it's very readable. It doesn't get above itself. I mean, he only, I saw one spark of, where was it? I think I made a footnote on it, where if he wants to, he could write at a higher level, but he is a very humble writer. He writes here on page 122, the feeling of being a burden to Mama wasn't something I imagined. It came from a number of small cues, from the things she muttered under her breath, and from the weariness she wore like a dark piece of clothing. I didn't want that, so I chose what seemed like the least bad option. He's a whoever, him together with his editors and so on, is a very humble portrayal. Even though it can be vivid and he can use this type of metaphor if he wants to, but he does that so sparingly. It is basically a very straightforward, lucid, a depth of clarity that is rare. He doesn't try to over emphasize himself to the reader. I mean, I'm comparing it to some books that I've read where the person is just trying to use all this flowery type of speech and all this, adjectives here and there and up and down and all over the place. This is a very, very humbly written book, and it comes out perfectly to represent a very humble person that came from a very humble background. I mean, his whole life story reeks of humility, forged by the chaotic and just heart-wrenching, painful, humiliating type of upbringing that a very poor person have. He reaches one point where he says he hates the house he grew up on. He hated his family circumstances. He hated having to go through all these stepdads that were just like a revolving door. He hated how he was treated in high school. He hated having to wear poor clothes when other kids were wearing, Abercrombie and Finch or these Old Navy or whatever fancy clothes titles that they were wearing. And that shaped the character that this book is representing. And as I said, I mean, it's definitely hitting the mark. And that's the purpose of the book, is to relate to the electorate, especially the working class electorate. And that is going to put him in good stead when it comes up his time to run for the president. Wow, I'm really impressed. I started off, going from one extreme to the other. I started off with this is, how am I going to get through this book? And this is boring, it's depressing. I don't want to hear these stories. But then it's kind of grows on you as you start to allow yourself, you give it the benefit of the doubt, and you allow yourself to get drawn into the story and sympathize with the story and sympathize with the subject of the book, who is J.D. Vance himself. So very powerful, very compelling, and would definitely recommend to any, of course, Americans out there. Canadians aren't probably going to be interested, but unless you want to, you should be interested, because this is a global leader. And so hopefully it appeals to everybody. It definitely appeals to a broad audience, because people have gone through pain in their circumstances, whether it's, racial circumstances, financial circumstances, gender circumstances. He basically covers all areas with sympathy and understanding and some form of resonance that allows you to not, you cannot help but cheer for the protagonist, cheer for this the character, the main character of the book. You end up being on his side and saying, wow, he overcame all these difficult circumstances. I mean, I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to eulogize the guy too much, or puff him up too much, but that's what the book is doing, and it's doing a mighty fine job of it. So for that, I better cut this short. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I went on so long. How am I doing for time? Yeah, we're under 10 minutes, so that's great. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well, and we'll follow up. Hopefully, how am I doing for the book? 240 pages. I'm at about page 170 or something, 160 something. I should be able to finish in another 1 or 2 videos, and we'll see how it wraps up. But so far, I'm right into the story. He's just finished his tour in the Marines, his 4-year tour in the Marines, and the chapter 10 is finishing with him with preparing to go on to Ohio State University. So we'll follow up in the next video and see where it leads us from there. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and hope you're able to spend time with people you love. We'll talk to you again real soon. Take care of yourself. Bye for now. Bye-bye.